so many amazing animals, as well as those that live on the land. There are thousands of creatures swimming in the sea and flying up in the sky. Have you ever wondered how dolphins talk to each other and why flightless birds have wings? Do you know what sharks eat and the difference between a turtle and a tortoise? Stick around and find out the answers to all these burning questions and many more on Why, What, Where. What do sharks eat? Real sharks aren't quite as scary as the ones you see in movies, but they are the most feared animals in the sea. Sharks love to eat lots of different creatures, such as fish, seals, plankton, which are tiny plants and animals that live underwater, and even other sharks. In nature's food chain, certain animals eat other animals, which eat other animals, and so on. These sharks live in the Bahamas, and they like to eat stingrays, bony fish, turtles, and even garbage. These are whale sharks, and they are an endangered species. These amazing creatures are normally hidden deep in the ocean for most of the year, but each September they rise to the surface to feed. They travel to warmer waters in the ocean in Mexico to feed, and tourists can go snorkeling with the whale sharks in an area that's contained. As sharks get bigger, they can eat so many more different types of things. It's funny to think that the favourite food of the whale shark, the biggest living fish in the sea, is plankton, which is made up of the smallest creatures in the sea. When the whale shark swims through the ocean and finds areas with lots of plankton, it opens its mouth really wide and eats up all the plankton it can manage. Because there are so many different types of sharks, it means that they've all adapted in certain ways to eating different foods. So the sharks that live at the bottom of the sea eat different sea creatures to those that live in open water or near a reef. Their teeth are also different. For example, some sharks have long, thin teeth for holding onto fish, and others have small, hard teeth that can crush the shells of crabs. Some sharks have tearing teeth so they can eat the tough flesh of large fish and reptiles. Did you know that tiger sharks' teeth are so sharp they can bite through the shell of a turtle? How do dolphins communicate? Have you ever swum with a dolphin? Perhaps you've seen them jumping in the water at a theme park or watched them flying in the air from a boat in the ocean. Dolphins are very smart mammals. They live in the water and breathe air through their blowhole, which is found at the top of their head. There are around 30 to 40 species of dolphins in the world, and some types rise to the surface to breathe every 20 to 30 seconds, while others can hold their breath underwater for as long as 30 minutes. The bottlenose dolphin is the most common type. Dolphins love playing with each other and live in groups or families called pods. They're so intelligent that they sleep by resting one half of their brain at a time so that one eye is always open. This means they can keep an eye out for predators and rise to the surface to breathe. Amazing, huh? But how do you think they communicate with each other? Well, each dolphin has its own type of whistle, which means it can identify itself to other dolphins and send information to each other. By whistling, they can organise the group to go hunting, which makes feeding easier for dolphins than doing it alone. They also make clicking sounds, moans, trills, and squeaks. The clicking sounds echo through the water, which means they can listen for the echo and work out information such as the size, distance, and location of objects around them. They can make up to 700 clicking sounds per second. It must be cold being a dolphin, don't you think? They actually have a thick layer of fat under their skin called blubber, and this helps them keep warm. Did you know male dolphins are called bulls and female dolphins are called cows? A baby dolphin is called a calf. How many arms does an octopus have? The octopus is very secretive. It hides during the day in caves and under rocks. So how do you think you would spot an octopus? What do you think you would need to look for? Well, firstly, their body is smooth, usually white marked with green, but they can trick you by changing colour. To blend in with their background, they can turn pink, brown or grey. They have a broad head with 2 eyes high up and a tough parrot-like beak. The most obvious thing about an octopus, though, is the amount of arms they have. Can you guess how many? There are 8 in total, with suckers all over them. The octopus is considered to be the cleverest animal in the ocean. It's a very fast swimmer and a dangerous predator. It grabs, sucks, and chokes its prey with its long arms or tentacles. One type of octopus is so clever that it can change into the shape of a rock within seconds. When a fish it wants to eat swims by, it will quickly change back into shape and catch the fish before it has time to escape. Pretty smart, huh? These researchers are trying to work out how the octopus moves its arms and whether it's left or right-handed. The octopus uses its tentacles, apart from the last part of arms, the furthest from its head, when picking up objects. That means the front 6 tentacles could be seen as arms and the back 2 as legs. This female octopus seems to be enjoying all the attention from the visitors and researchers at this Berlin aquarium. They like to play and move around a lot. Yes, they play a lot. They're quite clever and need entertaining, otherwise they get bored. We often come to the tank and handle them and play with them. You can see now that it's still swimming around the tank, although nothing's going on, because it just wants to see what's happening in its environment. Did you know that octopuses squirt dark ink from behind? It stops their predators from following them because they can't see. Coming up, we find out how many types of fish there are and why jellyfish are clear. How many different types of fish live in the sea? There are roughly 25,000 different species of fish. They come in all colours, shapes and sizes. The sharks we saw earlier are also a type of fish. Most fish have a few things in common, such as scaly skin. They breathe through gills, they're cold-blooded, and have fins and a tail which they use for swimming. However, not all the animals that live in the sea are fish. Dolphins and seals, for example, are actually mammals, and they need to come to the surface to breathe. Some other sea animals have fish in their names, but they're not really fish, like crayfish, cuttlefish, shellfish and starfish. These ones glow in the dark. They're fluorescent fish and were originally bred to help detect pollution in the environment. These fish make great pets and glow by absorbing light and then releasing it. Their colour appears brighter and more vibrant the more light they absorb. This little girl likes the fish because they're shiny and have yellow stripes. These special fish are kissing fish. They come from Southeast Asia and can be found in the seas of Malaysia, Indonesia and Thailand. They're usually silvery pink in colour and can grow as long as 25 centimetres. Many visitors at this aquarium have never seen fish kissing before. It's very interesting to see the kissing fish. If the fish can kiss, that means they have feelings too. But despite their friendly appearance, staff at the aquarium say the fish actually kiss to show their strength and protect their territory from each other. It's a characteristic of this kind of fish. When they feel that they would want to threaten each other, they would pucker up their small mouths and it would look like they're kissing. But in fact, they're showing off their strength to the other fish. This is a tropical fighting fish called a flower horn. It has a bump on its head and has strange but beautiful markings on its body. Flower horn fish fans say as it grows, it develops markings on its colourful body. These markings change with age, but some people say words and numbers sometimes appear. The owner of this aquarium says that no two flowerhorn fish are the same. They are completely unique. The flowerhorn fish is meant to be very intelligent, and it shows affection for its owner, just like a cat or a dog. It doesn't purr or bark, but it definitely likes a pat on the head. Did you know that fish are vertebrates? That means like mammals, reptiles, amphibians and birds, they have a backbone and an internal skeleton. Why are jellyfish clear? You've probably heard about jellyfish and how harmful they can be. But do you know what a jellyfish is and why they're a see-through colour? Firstly, jellyfish are aquatic animals that belong to a group which also includes anemones and coral. They are free-swimming and drift with the sea's current, so they don't need to rest. Jellyfish have a bag with tentacles hanging down. The bag is there to keep them floating in the water, while the tentacles catch their food. The bag is filled with a jelly-like liquid that is 94% water, which is what makes them clear in colour. Jellyfish don't have a heart, a brain, or bones. Instead, they're held together with muscle fibres that lace through their jelly-like bodies. So how do you think jellyfish eat? Well, their hollow stomach is connected directly to their mouth, which is the only opening on the body. So food goes in and water passes out. They even use their mouths to swim. The water comes in and fills up their stomachs. Then, when they pump it out, it moves them forward. Most jellyfish stay in shallow water and can be found in oceans and tropical waters. Their tentacles are used for protecting themselves, catching and attacking their prey. But if a jellyfish stings you, it can seriously hurt you. So you have to be careful when swimming in the ocean. How many species of jellyfish are there? Around 20. How did the humpback whale get its name? The humpback whale gets its name from its dorsal fin, which sits on a large hump on its back. A dorsal fin is found on the backs of all whales and dolphins and some fish. You can see it when the whale arches its back and dives. Humpback whales have very long flippers, which can make up 1/3 of their body length. Humpback whales are huge. An adult male can reach 13 to 15 metres in length, and the females are slightly larger, reaching 16 to 17 metres long. You can tell a humpback whale apart from other whales by their markings. They're black on their backs and have spotted black and white marks on their underside. Scientists say the shape, markings and tone of the tail are as individual as a human fingerprint and help set one whale apart from another. In the summer, humpback whales live in water that's mild in temperature and where they feed on things like shrimp, herring and small fish. In the winter, they move to tropical waters where they mate and give birth. They don't actually feed in winter. Instead, they live off the fat reserves stored under their skin, called blubber. These types of whales can live to be at least 50 years old. They're slow swimmers compared to other whales, but are great at acrobatics. They can swim on their backs with both flippers in the air. How many humpback whales are in the ocean? There are about 30,000 worldwide. What's the difference between a turtle and a tortoise? If all turtles and tortoises are reptiles, all have scales, lay eggs and are cold-blooded, then why do they have different names? Well, there are some obvious differences. Turtles spend most of their lives in water. They mostly have webbed feet for swimming. These sea turtles are especially adapted for an aquatic life, with long feet that form flippers. They hardly ever leave the ocean, except for when the females come to the shore to lay their eggs. Sometimes you can find a turtle in fresh water, like ponds or lakes. A tortoise, on the other hand, lives on the land. They eat shrubs, grasses, and even cactus. They don't have webbed feet. Instead, their feet are round and stumpy for walking on land, and they live in hot, dry habitats, using their strong legs to dig burrows. When it gets too hot, they hide underground in their burrows. Like your bones, a turtle's shell is part of its skeleton. A turtle can't just crawl out from its shell because it's part of it. Have you ever seen a turtle pull its head, legs and feet inside its shell? These turtles are called hidden-necked turtles. Although their skin looks very tough, it's actually very sensitive. This is a Galapagos giant tortoise, and it's celebrating its birthday. It's 361 years old. Galapagos tortoises like having their necks rubbed. They sometimes even follow their keepers around, wanting more. Do turtles and tortoises have teeth? No, instead their mouths have a hard, sharp edge that they use to bite with, like a bird's beak. Coming up, we find out why birds migrate and what a sea lion is. Why do flightless birds have wings? Did you know that there are quite a few birds that cannot fly, even though they have wings? You can find some of these birds in many countries all over the world. The ostrich is one of those. It's the largest living bird and is mostly found in Africa. The ostrich is around 8 feet tall and can weigh 300 pounds. They can run really fast and their necks bob up and down as they do so. The ostrich is a funny-looking animal. It has long, skinny legs, a big body with small wings, a long neck, and a dangerously long beak. Their large bodies are covered in feathers. They live off anything they can find to eat, from plants to small animals. Scientists think that flightless birds evolved from birds that did fly once upon a time. They may have gradually lost their need for flight because they didn't have any predators. Can you guess what this black and white bird that swims but cannot fly is called? I'll give you a clue. They can be found in Antarctica and move by waddling. That's right, it's the penguin. There are many different varieties of penguins and they're found not just in Antarctica, but also in southern Australia and cool places in the southern hemisphere. Penguins spend a lot of time underwater, searching for food. When they're in the water, they dive and flap their wings, so it looks like they're flying. But the only time penguins do fly, well, kind of, is when they leap out of the water. They'll often do this to get a gulp of air before diving back down for fish. You see, penguins can't actually breathe underwater. However, they can hold their breath for a long time. They also leap out of the water to get from the ocean onto the land if there are cliffs or bits of ice to deal with. Like whales and dolphins, penguins keep warm with the layer of fat under their skin called blubber. On top of their skin, they have fluffy feathers, but they have to huddle in groups to warm each other up. In what country can you find the kiwi? New Zealand. Why do birds migrate? Birds will pick up and leave their nests to go out and find more food. The change of seasons causes a change in food supply, so birds need to move to an area with more food. This is called migration. They also migrate to different areas to breed and raise their young. How far do you think they have to travel? Well, it depends on what bird it is. Some birds have to stop and rest and feed during migration. They may only stop for a day or a night, but some birds will remain at stopover areas for weeks. Some birds are short-distance migrants and move only as far as they need to find food such as insects, seeds and berries. Birds have to prepare for migration. This means they eat more food, which is stored as fat for their long journey. Some birds can almost double their body weight during this process. When they're ready, most soaring birds, such as hawks, leave during the day. Most songbirds, on the other hand, travel at night. They spend their day resting and searching for food. Some people think it's better for the birds to fly at night because of the lower temperatures and stiller air, which make for better flying conditions. When the wind blows, it allows the birds to fly faster. They have excellent eyesight and use visual landmarks such as tall buildings, mountains and rivers to help them find their way or navigate. They also use the sun as a guide. Birds that fly in the night use the pattern of the stars to help them work out which direction they're going. True or false? All owls are night creatures. False. The snowy owl or short-eared owl often hunt by day and can be seen in open country. Where do sea lions live? Sea lions are found all over the world, and there are 6 types of species. There is the Steller sea lion, Californian sea lion, Galapagos sea lion, South American sea lion, Australian sea lion, and the New Zealand sea lion. They're built for life in the water, but unlike the seal, they can also move around on land. They have strong flippers and can change their body temperature when they're in water. Sea lions don't have to drink water like us. They get all the water they need from their food. This sea lion is called Anton. He's a Californian sea lion and has just been born, much to the surprise of the zookeepers. Infant sea lions are generally breastfed by their mothers for around 3 months. In zoos, they can live for around 12 to 14 years. Did you know that the seal that you find in the circus is usually a Californian sea lion? Sea lions can balance a ball on their nose and jump through hoops. What is a manatee? There is an old story that sailors once thought manatees were mermaids. This is hard to imagine when you see one up close. West Indian manatees have been described as looking like small cars rather than people. They can reach up to 4 meters long and are really big in size. Manatees may be big, but they are very graceful swimmers. They don't move quickly, but like to just cruise in the water. They push themselves forward by moving their strong tails up and down and steer with their flippers. Manatees live in only a few isolated populations around the warm waters of the Western Atlantic, from Florida to Brazil. They're listed as an endangered species and are not easy to breed, as females usually only give birth to 1 calf every 2 to 5 years. Manatees are very gentle animals. They don't usually fight, so have no natural enemies, but they are sometimes accidentally hurt by boats passing by. Did you know that manatees are sometimes called sea cows? It's fun to learn about the many different sea creatures and birds that live in the world. Each animal is unique and special, just like you and I. You can learn more about these types of animals and many more by going to your local zoo or by jumping on the internet.